afternoon, everyone. My name is Colin Wilson, and welcome to our webinar today. It's the 14th of December, so the year is almost finished, and what a year it's been. So we look forward to hosting a great webinar today, and the webinar today is all about how to become more efficient in 2021. What's really important is I think this has definitely been a year of collaboration, and I'm pretty sure this is my third webinar I've done this year with a gentleman called Mr. Cameron Evans from AMA ICT. Welcome, Cam.
Hey, Colin, how are you?
Yeah, very good, and thanks for joining this webinar. And we're going to do a great webinar today. So what our agenda is for the webinar is the following. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about implementing better efficiencies for 2021, and then Cam's going to go through and talk about understand the capability of products like Office 365 and using the resources of OneDrive better for better document workflow, and how to get the best out of Microsoft Teams for your business for better engagement. And I think I'll finish it off with the benefits to you and your team and your company to perform better. But this has definitely been a very challenging year, and we've got people, especially here in Melbourne, working from home and working from office. 25% of people are back at the office at the moment, so it's been a really difficult year. And I think a lot of people have jumped into things, and then I see the year of 2021 as how to become more efficient and effective with the way that we do things. I'm the Director of Key Business Advisors, and this is my, as I said, 28th webinar that I've done this year, so it's been pretty full on. I absolutely love what I do. We love helping businesses, but our business is all about particularly three key areas, and that is business advice and strategy. I've got a great HR team of 5 professionals that are out there supporting many companies with HR advice and support, and we do a lot of professional sales training for many businesses. So Cam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Director of and owner of AMA ICT, Colin. We're a Telstra branded partner. I've got both a sister business as well with the Telstra Business Technology Centre. And look, I've been in the game a fair while now with IT and technology, and really these days where we've landed at, Cole, is around providing the infrastructure to make your business more remote and robust in events like 2020, and that's definitely fast-tracked everything that's happened with us across both Australia and the world since March. But then once you're there and got that, how you make your team more efficient and collaborative, both internally and with your customers externally. And it's really, like I said, 2021, in fast tracking that, it's really helped us engage with the customers. And I reckon we've seen sort of 5 years of development and move forward in just these last 8 or 9 months in terms of where businesses are at now compared to where they were only 8 or 9 short months ago.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And a little bit about some of the things they're all about.
Yeah, we're, as I touched on there before, mainly a managed service provider to business and consultation to business. Our mission, as you've got up there for us, thank you, is to help our customers grow their business with better technology. And we're able to do that by taking the whole of business approach, as we talk about, and combining the telco side of things, the IT side of things, and then the implementation and collaboration side of things. We've got strong partnerships with vendors like your Microsofts of the world through their whole platform, also phone system providers, software providers and the like. And we're a direct Telstra partner, like I mentioned. We hold Telstra's cybersecurity accreditation, which not a lot of businesses, standalone businesses across Australia have. So we're basically held to the same standards that Telstra hold themselves internally, and are able to help customers along that pathway as well. And we're also one of the first, in fact, we can take the pride of being the first business in Australia accredited to deliver Telstra's calling for Microsoft Office 365 to small business under a new program that just kicked off a couple of weeks ago. We've got a few partners in now, and that's going to only expand into next year, but we'll touch on that a bit more. But it's very exciting, the actual calling capabilities of the Microsoft 365 particularly Teams. It's rather exciting as we head into 2021.
Yep, beautiful. Okay, so this webinar is definitely being recorded. Everyone will receive a copy of the slides and the recording of the webinar within 24 hours of today's webinar. And yeah, and if there's any questions anyone wants to ask, they can ask some questions. Just put it into the chat box and we'll look at answering some of those questions as we go along. So my very first topic is about implementing better efficiencies for 2021. What I meant before is, there's a lot of companies that have been forced to make changes, people working from home and everything like that. And that's all well and good and great. And many people got stuff into the cloud, but how can you communicate better? And, I think that's what's really, really important. So, it is about becoming, get better efficiencies as we go into 2021. Okay, so my first slide is about setting up a fresh start for 2021. So the thing that we've done with UCAM, and I think that's probably what this webinar is all about, is we've gone to AMA ICT, to yourself and Jack, and said, right, we need to improve some of our processes and what we need to do. And I think what's been really effective is to review and brainstorm what your processes of what worked well and what didn't work so well in 2020. And we actually did that a few weeks ago with the whole team. And said, we brought the team together. We hired a place outside of KBA so we can fit everyone in. And we went to a venue and we talked about how can we become more efficient and effective in 2020. So you look at some ways of putting in some internal inputs and outputs. So how can we get things happening internally together with one another with better communication, and then which are going to create better outputs. So for an example, we have 5 HR professionals in our business. A client calls in, and typically everyone's been in the office, or a few of them been working out on site with our clients, and it's been easy to grab somebody to answer a call or fix an issue. Whereas now we've got people working from home, so we're relying on systems that's going to make us more effective. I think you need to think about ways to become more effective and efficient with the staff departments and teams. So a good example, if someone rings one of our HR team, now we have the ability to create a process where through Teams, where we can get that communication going. Hey, I've just spoken to this customer and this is what the issue was and I've sorted it out, to keep everyone up to date at the same time. Look at somewhere where your roadblocks were that held your business back and finding out information, communication, resources. That's probably one of the things that I struggle with most this year is that communication. So yes, I jump on Teams, I might have a team meeting with one person or bring somebody else in. Then a customer rings and asks me a question about something. So I've then got to try and ring somebody else, and just all that communication to me chews up time. So how to become more efficient and get some time back, I think is what's important. How can your company become more effective with your staff working from home and in the office? So this is the new world we're going into with 2021. So, the younger generation always wanted flexible work arrangements. Can I work from home and do this, do that? A lot of the mature business owners didn't see the value of that or weren't really 100% on board with it, but COVID has proven that people can work from home and work remotely offsite. And Cam, your business is actually founded where you've actually got 3 sites or 4 sites where staff work from. So you're one of the experts on making this happen. And I think what's important is how quick can you source information when you need it. So what's going to make your staff more productive in 2021? So we hear things like, I need to move my stuff, move my products or my products and services and information into the cloud. But then how do I make it more streamlined and more effective? So I think what's also important is ways to be more, efficient for better output. So using the full suite of Office 365 to its full capacity, it's not as easy as what people think. Like one of the things that we've seen is the guys want to jump on board with it, and they're starting to create some of their own processes around Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive. But for me, I think what's important is how do we map that out, that everything gets backed up. If someone leaves, we very quickly can log somebody out, not lose information. If something happens, we've got a backup. So it's really, really important that you, if I use the word, create the framework around how you actually want to use Office 365. I think it's important to get advice and map it out, which is what we've done with yourself and Jack, on what the business needs to do to put a plan in place for everyone to follow. And again, like all processes and systems, they're there for a reason, but do people follow them? And, you know, it's a bit of a new world using the full suite of Microsoft Office 365. As I said before, it's about the speed and quicker access into everything. So when we want information, we want it now, and it doesn't matter where I'm working, at the office, off-site, at a client's business, I want to be able to get that information and access it very quickly. And I think one of the things we're starting to see now is less documentation and a bit more video content. So a lot of work that we've done with a lot of our clients this year, especially during COVID, is, you know, we don't have systems in place, or we don't know how to train. Well, okay, why don't you actually showcase how you use your CRM system, record it and put it up on Teams, and we can use that as part of your induction process. So I think it's really, really important for everyone on this hookup is to research different types of software programs, you know, and do your comparison. But there's no doubt Office 365 has got a great ability to grow into, and a lot of us actually already pay for the license of it, and we use it just for email. We don't use the other functionality, and that's why I wanted to do this webinar with you, Cam, so you can sort of educate everyone on what's possible. My tip is make sure you have some clarity around what you and your company needs, right? Because it's really, really important. They're all on the same page. You got to get that clarity and buy-in so everyone's on board to use it. And then part of your strategy is, okay, how do I link the strategy to actions for better profit? So I truly believe that the more efficient we can become, everyone needs access to information anytime, anywhere, the more profitability we're going to be. So we get a bit of time back and then get that output that I was talking about before. I think very, very important, make sure you have a well thought out solution. And what's really, really interesting is, you know, 4 of us were on a hookup this morning with Jack in trying to work things out, and there's 4 different opinions on how we actually want to map it out. So, you know, what's come out of it, Cam, is we're going to get Jack in the new year, and we just want to do like a half-day workshop to start off with on what it looks like, what our efficiency is going to look like for 2021. So you need to look at the benefits and do that, what I call the value equation. What's going to make us more profitable by producing what we need to do using a better system? I think the other thing too with, you know, Microsoft Office 365, it's always going to grow, it's always going to evolve, and it's something you can grow into rather than grow out of. Make sure you do due diligence and of who has access and who doesn't. So again, that's a thing that, you know, it's already started in our business. People starting to come up with, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And we don't want that. We want that efficiency. And as I said before, think about the security, the backup information that can quickly be restored should something go wrong. And I think, you know, we need to have obviously internet to get into Office 365, but, you know, if someone's computer got stolen or blew up or something like that, how can we quickly get on to another computer and get all of our information and get back to work? So once you get all this in place, you know, it's the next process is about getting everyone on board to use it properly and create some procedures and process around that. So my tip is make sure you map it out and train your team to become more efficient for better profits, because that is what's going to take your business to the next level in 2021. And, you know, it's a competitive world out there, but if you've got that upper hand where you can, you know, got access to information, and as I said before, get some time back with your staff, I think that's really, really important. So, okay, over to you, Cam. So do you want to take us through understanding the capability of Office 365?
Yeah, you know, you've covered off some really good points there very well, Colin. I think we'll circle back to a few of those points, particularly around setting it up or architecting your environment in the best way for your business, and the approach you are taking in bringing all your team members together and using the consultation of an expert like Jack is just a great way to do it. We'll come back to that. I think again, another thing that 2020 has shown us is that in moving remotely, it was to utilise a lot of new technologies and practices and processes, but it did also circle back to some technology that's been available to a lot of us. Either we were already using parts of it, or it was there available to us for quite a while. And the key one there, or the first one there to talk about is your Office 365, or in some markets referred to as Microsoft 365. If you hear that, you're basically referring to the same thing. But if you go back a few years ago, I think a lot of businesses and people listening will remember that transition from your on-premise server, which hosted your emails, are all in a cupboard somewhere on-prem, to first of all, it might have been, you know, when you first started using your Hotmail or your Gmail type emails back then for your business, or maybe a quicker migration to your at businessname.com or .com.au type email, and then bringing everything into an exchange and realizing that you could read an email while you're out and about, and then when you got back to your computer it synced. We sort of went all through those basics a few years ago, but what's been layered on and on and on with your Office and Microsoft 365, more and more and more features that a lot of businesses aren't utilising or aren't aware about. Hence the need or the importance in getting someone in that to help you utilise that. So, I mean, in an effort to talk about a few of the things that you've asked me to talk about today, Colin, there's probably some key things that's really worth noting that I know, you know, throughout the last 6 or 7 months have been a revelation to a lot of our businesses in the capabilities of Office 365, particularly around things like the anywhere, anytime access. And really, you think of your ability to interact with documents and interact with each other in teams, and we'll get onto that in a little bit, as being that sort of social media type or ease of access, ability to do it anywhere, on the train, at home, while you're watching telly, or if you're in the office. Sometimes can be a bit of a trap, the ease of access, but you do have that. But particularly using a wide range of and variety of devices and tablets and phones. I mean, now you can interact with a PowerPoint presentation on your phone as easily almost as what you do on your PC. When we were building up this slideshow with yourself and Smaritha last week, Colin, I was at my mum's house deep in Western Victoria, didn't have my computer with me, not the best mobile phone reception, but they are on NBN, a form of NBN technology, and I was basically editing this PowerPoint in the online version of PowerPoint, logged into Microsoft 365. Mum doesn't even have PowerPoint downloaded onto her computer or anything like that, but the ability to edit Word documents and Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations like we did with this one, without having that software installed. Traditionally, you had to have the software installed. So you can get to that from anywhere, and you've got the online and offline capability. So even if you don't have internet access, still your ability through the Microsoft Suite or the apps on your phone or anything like, or things like that, you can still do that editing. Then when you do come back online, you know, bang, it's all shared back up and collaborated. So again, when I talk about the learning as you go through, it wasn't even until last week when I'm working on this to talk about this that it really hits home. Well, yeah, I'm actually in preparing for this, you know, living and breathing what we're talking about, you know, working on it from mum and dad's place. Then we move on to things like being able to co-author documents, and this is a really cool feature, again, underutilized. And again, we were doing it last week. I was making some changes to the notes section of these slides, while Smaritha was adding in some information as well, while you were changing some headings, and we can see all that happening at the same time. But whether it's that or Microsoft Word documents, and again, now that we're a lot more remote, and you might be preparing for a meeting like this, or a Microsoft Teams meeting, or a webinar, or a Zoom. You can have people in totally different geographical locations, either on a phone or on a Teams collaboration, working on the same Word document together that's going into your presentation. How about we move this? What do you think if I move that to there? You know, you might be doing it in part of the world and someone else is watching you do it in the other part of the world. It's just a very good feature, and something, again, like I say, is underutilized in the Microsoft Suite, co-authoring documents like that. And then thirdly, and look, this is a constant across all of the things we'll talk about today. I'll touch on it with a bit more detail here, and in little bits as we move on, and that's around security, Cole, and the security that exists across Office 365 and Microsoft 365 and all of their suites. If you just jump to the next slide there, Cole. And the key points around security and what Microsoft has now introduced, into their suite. And you see it's sort of becoming second nature with a lot of things, whether it be the iPhone or the Apple range of products and your Face ID or your fingerprint ID. But with Microsoft now, you're starting to see things like their third-party apps that give you that multi-factor identification. And what that really means is typically you're used to just one way of verifying who you are, and that be a password. So someone gets your password, then the ability for them to get into your account or get into your documents exists. With multi-factor identification, what you're using now is you're combining two or more ways. So the password, then something like biometrics, so the thumbprint if you're using an older version of iPhone, or the Face ID if you're using the newer versions of iPhones or the Android phones as well, and then something that you have, obviously your phone, or for some banking software, people will be familiar with multi-factor authorization coming from a little key thing that generates numbers or something like that. But really Microsoft now, so whenever I need to log into Microsoft range of products, I mean, go back to the example with Mum last week, I log in on the computer, I then get a notification sent to my phone, seeing that I'm wanting to log in from somewhere, I authorize it there, and then we move forward like that. So really, what does someone need in this environment to be able to get in and access your documents or private information from a Microsoft 365 point of view? Well, they need the password, and they need your face or your fingerprint, and they're also going to need the device that you're interacting with that multi-factor authentication on. So the security is really, really strong. From an email control point of view, again, underutilized, things like distribution groups. So traditionally, you might have someone in a particular role, whether it be accounts or whether it be support, and the way for people, customers or outside of your business to interact would have been via emailing that person directly. And then what if that person leaves? Well, then you've either got to have someone else continuing to check that email in the future, or someone adopt and use that email, which mightn't be their name or whatever. So setting up simple things like distribution groups, so accounts at your business, but then that shooting off to 2 or 3 people. Then if those people leave, then you just put the new person into that distribution group. That's a really underutilized sort of feature. Around security, recovery of deleted emails. I mean, within your environment, you've got the ability to monitor and recover emails that might be deleted, and data loss prevention. Again, if you're all wrapped up in the one suite, you've got control of the sensitive information that exists in your environment. When you can control if a document is able to be emailed outside of your environment. You can put data loss prevention policies across data like that, across users, and also across information that's coming into your business as well. And then every week, every day it seems like, but at least every week, Microsoft is pushing out to your environment, more of the time without you even knowing it, the ability to recognise the latest in suspicious content. So Microsoft call it patches. Most people will be familiar with patching their computers, but it's trying to keep at least one step ahead or up with the cyber criminals through things like ransomware and links that are sent in your emails, more often than not even getting to your inbox these days because it's being blocked at the server level. So that's 365. That's really cool. What questions there?
No, I've got no other. Look, for me, I think it's there's no. For me, if I look at this morning, I've jumped onto Booking.com. It's asked for verification of password. I haven't been on the site for a while, so I just think it's brilliant on the security level. I also think too, as well, having everything under the one system. If somebody starts in your organisation, it's one login and they've got everything. And if someone leaves, it's one change of password and redirection, and it just simplifies things.
Yep.
All right, let's take us into topic 3, using OneDrive as a resource for better document workflow, because I think this is an area where so many small businesses especially struggle, with doing it. So, what they do is they save a document on their desktop and they try and save it over here, and then they might get multiple versions, and then I go and try and find that document, and all of a sudden I'm not finding the one that I want. So yeah, take us through, the document workflow.
Yeah, so again, we're sticking inside the Microsoft environment today, but its product of a cloud-based drive is OneDrive. Again, it's sort of not overly recognised or probably underutilised that it's an included feature in most of your Microsoft 365 licenses. So you've got it there. A lot of businesses we come across have access included in what they're paying for to OneDrive, but are also paying for extra storage in Apple's iCloud, or also paying for something separate like Box or like Dropbox, Box and Dropbox. So you're doubling up on your costs. I know up until, again, not all that long ago, I had Dropbox in 2011, had a lot in there, and paying that per month, and then but we've got OneDrive included for free within that environment. Again, I was using it from a business point of view. So look, Dropbox is there, it's always on, the Microsoft claim, so I'm just quoting from them, so it could be held to fact checking, but they are pretty well recognised as being always on within reason. I mean, that previous 4 years, they're self-reported uptime at 99.97%. That equates to about, and that's a global figure across all of their services, OneDrive included. That equates to about 10 minutes in the last 4 years that you couldn't access Microsoft or OneDrive. I think that's pretty good. Immediate syncing, so as you're doing something on your device now, it's immediately syncing your documents that you're working on there. So something catastrophic right now means that you've got what was synced only moments ago already up in the cloud. And look, you don't necessarily need to have Microsoft applications to access. It can be standalone. Again, from any web browser, anywhere in the world, log into your OneDrive, and you've got access to the documents that you're working on. So you're not reliant on that device and not reliant on having Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365 installed on the device you're working on. From an included storage point of view, again, you've got per user, if you just flick to the next slide, Cole, if you look per user, you've got a terabyte of data. Now, I'd challenge a lot of employees from a work point of view, some obvious examples are noted, but to be smashing out 1 terabyte per user. And what that effectively allows you to do is you can wrap a cloud around each one of every employee. So all of your data, Colin, all of Smaritha's data, all of your other employees' data can be put into their personal section of the OneDrive. And the big thing that from I think from the business's point of view is that the business controls and looks after and has the security and protocols around that data. So this isn't their personal OneDrive. You can have a personal OneDrive next to that or a personal something else, but from a work point of view, you want your employees not to be necessarily saving it on even the work computer that you've given them. You want it to be also up in OneDrive, but definitely not on their personal tablet or their home computer or anything else they might be logging into. You want that data to be controlled by you in your cloud and under your control from a policy and procedure point of view. So you're wrapping your own business cloud around each team member, like I said. And then from a security point of view, and OneDrive, you can do things like suspicious activity monitoring. So you can prevent unauthorized access of your account. We go back to what we spoke about there earlier, but it monitors and blocks suspicious signing in attempts. You'll get an email. You can get notifications if unusual activity is detected. You'll get noticed if you'll get a note, both as an administrator or however you set your policies up, if login comes from a new device or a new location that's outside your normal geographic location. As well, I know often when I come and see you down in Melbourne, Cole, typically I'm located in country Victoria, but I'll get noted that we've had a login from another device outside the normal geographic area. To get you to flick to the next slide there, Cole. Also, I mean, you're looking at version and history of all file types. So in the case where you have an unwanted edit or an accidental delete, you can restore deleted files. You can look at your previous versions. You can look in your OneDrive recycle bin, restore a previous version if you did make a change and you weren't happy with that change, or you've gone too far down. You've got your version history, and then mass file deletion notification recovery. I know this for quite a few of our clients in particular has been a real saviour. If you accidentally, which doesn't often happen, let's be honest, someone intentionally goes to delete or move a large number of files from within your OneDrive or outside of your OneDrive, you can get alerts to provide you with steps to recover those files or stop those files from leaving your organisation. And again, the way that intertwines with your Office 365 I was talking about earlier, your Microsoft Outlook, you might have already told Outlook you don't want this particular set of files to be even able to be emailed, but obviously deleted like we're talking there as well.
This is all about changing behaviour, though, isn't it, Cam? When you think about it, like I think that's, this has been a conversation I've been, chatting to you guys for the last few months around, how do we, change the behaviour of our team to go and follow this new way of doing it and just make sure that we do it right, that it's more efficient and effective for the business. Okay.
Yeah, look, and I think a big thing to assist with changing behaviour, Cole, is ease of making that happen. And it's one thing to change a habit, to change a behaviour. If it's tough or it's a labouring type process. Sorry about all the sirens in the background, Cole. Not me in trouble, which is a good thing. Yeah, it's one thing to force change, but if that change is easy and intuitive, which I think we find this is a lot, then it's more easily adopted.
Yeah, I think, and I'll just add to that, Cam, when we did the workshop with the team, they all want it. That's the thing, they want it. I came to them a couple of months ago and said, this is what we're doing. We're updating our phone system. We're going to move the whole company into Office 365, become more effective and efficient with what we're doing. And they've already started the process, and they want to do it. So I think that's, for anyone's on this webinar, when you're trying to create change, you've got to see this as a very positive thing. And with the working from home and in the office, that anytime, anywhere access to information, it is going to get better, make it more productive. So getting the best out of your Microsoft Teams for your business for better engagement. So I'll get you to take us through this slide, Cam.
Yeah, so what is Teams? I mean, Teams is your chat-based collaboration tool now. Again, if you go back only not that long ago, might have been using a mixture of things like WhatsApp or Slack or any one of a number of chat-based tools, Facebook Messenger or something, to try and get the message quickly out and about around your team. Teams is that chat-based collaboration tool that I spoke of, that it does provide a global wraparound of controlling information flow and ease of access around your whole business, particularly, and this is again where 2020 really comes into it, particularly where you've got remote and dispersed teams, to give them the ability to work together, share information via a common space. Again, I know you, before we jumped on this today, you told me how you've had several meetings this morning with people who are spread right across the way. And from our point of view, I start today, Monday, with a meeting with my team, financial controllers based in Queensland. We've got guys all over Victoria, and then from a sales team point of view later in the day, again, people across all parts of Western Victoria. But that's only one side of it, that meeting. It's that instant-based messaging. So again, if you think of any sort of business, but let's pick an accounting type business. You might have people who in traditional days, if you weren't sure of something, if you didn't know exactly how that process works or what that new procedure is, you'd probably turn around and lean over. You'd have 15 of your colleagues or 5 of your colleagues over your shoulder. You could ask the question. That's a bit harder these days when you're dealing with the remote workforce. Your ability to punch it into Microsoft Teams, have a team-based setup within that of that particular subset of people. You're asking the question and people are collaborating straight away to answer that question. It really, really helps that. What gets missed a lot is that for most Microsoft 365 licenses that you're paying per user or might have in your business, it's included. It's included. It's sitting there. It's just waiting to be used, and you've got to start somewhere.
I think too, Cam, the other secret is, like, rather than email one another and it clogs your emails up, let's leave the emails for our customers and correspondence, and let's use Microsoft Teams as an internal conversation point, like what you just said. If you're leaning over and reached out to somebody. So I think that's a process that we've started to do, and already it's more effective. Because we know that Microsoft Teams is our internal process to talk with one another, and our emails are for all of our client work. So at the end of the day, when you get home and you got like 70 emails, and of the 70 emails, 50 of them from your own workforce, this has been a really good win for becoming more effective.
Yeah, and how many of those internal emails, Cole, become such long email chains that you're scrolling and scrolling, catch yourself up on the conversation, or to go through, where did that come from? What was that question 5 emails ago in this email chain?
Yeah, it's the CCing. Yeah, it's CCing. Yeah.
Right. You're spot on. Emails now should be for external communication into your business, all of your communication within your business, and you've got access to it if you've got Microsoft Exchange or Office 365, I should say. You've got access to it. All of your internal communication should be via Microsoft Teams, because then it also creates other abilities to search back through easily, intuitively back through conversations. Or when did I talk about this particular rule or that particular thing? You can search that very easily and very quickly. And you go back to one of your initial points there before we got started, Cole, around architecting that right from the start. And that's what I can't stress enough, that in implementing and rolling this out, that you get a good consultation with someone who knows Microsoft Teams environment, how to set it up, and we talk through the ways in which you can do that. You might have a technical support team, you might have a sales team, you might have a back of house team, and then you bring everyone into that in the right way, and you set it up. You even set up the notification. Some people they might be the type of person who 3 times a day looks through all their chats to see what the latest is. It might be someone who prefers to have real-time notifications and a pop-up. Like I talked about, improved chat meeting experience, that intuitive linking into Outlook, into your Outlook calendar. I mean, Teams knows where you're at and what you're doing, and responds and interacts with you as such, but it also knows your colleagues based on their Outlook calendars and what they're doing, whether they're available. You might have a question for someone in particular. You might otherwise just reach out to them, but you can see whether they're in a meeting, you can see whether they're on a phone call, and adjust the way you reach out to them accordingly.
Very good. Yep.
Take a drink there. Highly customizable, like I say. But most importantly in this, I mean, I haven't headlined this one security, but it is equally as important. You've got business control. You as the business owner, and let's be honest, I mean, you should be able to control the information and what goes on within your business. You control it. Conversations that happen in Teams, rightfully so, remain as company property, and that's in this consultation that you're going to have in a couple of weeks' time, Cole. You'll see where we outline that right from the start, the difference between communicating on a Facebook Messenger or a WhatsApp and communicating within Microsoft Teams. This is your professional time. If you want to put something silly, or if you want to push the boundaries from a HR point of view, don't do it in Teams, because that is company property. You've got record of it. It's always there. It doesn't go away, as they say, but even more so within Teams. Strong governance policies, again, linking into good business running, risk assessing, keeping good governance, good control over what you do. And then within that, you're delegating roles, who's able to record meetings, who's able to add users to particular groups. All of that you've got control and customizable aspects to. If you want to be able to record, do you have to get consent from everyone else who's in the meeting? More often than likely, yes. So everyone else has got to give consent, then the recording of the meeting can start. Just simple things like that, but your ability to control it. If you lose or don't have that control over the environment, and it becomes a risk to your business. And look, the really exciting part of Microsoft 365, particularly Teams, Microsoft Teams, is something I touched on earlier, and that's the calling within Microsoft Teams. So the way it might be used to a Zoom environment might even be used to Teams a little bit, having video calls or being able to use Teams to make voice calls as now. But our ability now to integrate your normal traditional landline fixed number into the Microsoft Teams environment, and make it so that if a customer rings your phone number, it comes in to you via Microsoft Teams, and therefore is able to be interacted with as such. Example you gave there earlier, if a particular customer should be routed to a particular person within the Teams environment, you can make that happen. If you're the sort of business where you do voice signatures or need some aspect of call recording, you can do that as well. If you want to be able to have good after hours setups, think of your old traditional PABX type phone system, where you had a brains that sits inside the business and then handsets that sit outside that. You can create all of that around your Microsoft Teams calling and your mobile phone handset, or you might still want a desktop handset, or you might just use your computer or your PC. So that's the real next exciting step, and that really for us, like I touched on earlier, is brand new. We've been part of a pilot program to roll that out in November into December, but 2021, the next big thing in Teams is that what we call TCO 365 calling, and it really is like that meld of your traditional phone number or your mobile phone numbers into 365 and having everything happen from there.
I think I said it before, Cam. It's it's only going to get better. It's not going to get any. That's the thing about Office 365. And with all the clients that I talk to, they know it's there, and so they use it. But do they use it to its full capacity? And do they know what they actually want to get out of the system that's going to make them more efficient and effective across the business? So I can't endorse this enough. Yeah.
I was just going to say, sorry, and immediately the development that Microsoft has put in the last 6 or 9 months. Initially everyone knows Zoom, everyone heard Zoom, everyone was talking Zoom. Microsoft in particular got smashed in and around the Teams product, and everyone being able to identify that. So there has been a lot of development, and there has been a lot of positive things that have really rolled out real quick, like I probably quoted there before. That 3 to 5 years of development really, shoved into not only the way we work or what we do, but even from a Microsoft point of view. So the features that are in there now, it's just growing, and it's growing really quick into a really efficient pace.
So to me, like, the benefits to your team and company to perform better, this is what it's about. It's about, how do we become more efficient? And I think better efficiencies will make your business more effective. And if you can't source required information, then this will impact your business. So how do I find, we're used to our information be stored in folders or in some part of the business, and when we need it, if we are going to do the old search, you get everything coming up in year format or date format. You just can't get access to that information you need right now. So I think by setting something up that's going to make it more efficient for your business, and it's not just you personally, it's everyone in your team, then that's going to make it more effective. COVID has definitely forced us to look at ways to become more efficient, and we've gone through the part. I think first stage of COVID, everyone had to move home and move from the office to the home, and we got technology. And I remember Cam having a conversation with you in a previous webinar. All you were doing was supplying computers, systems, internet, trying to get people up and running. And then the second round was this is where the Teams and the Zoom really kicked off. When you think about it, and now some companies have over purchased product, and now they want to know, how do I consolidate, how to become more effective, more efficient with the technology that we've currently now got. Legacy systems do put a massive strain on many businesses. So although they're good, we're going into a new world, and 2021 is definitely a new world coming out of this crazy year that we've had of 2020. System failures creates frustrations and meltdowns because things just didn't work. And again, we saw that with a lot of businesses. I mean, here in particular, we had a situation where our internet went down, and our phone systems went down for internet work. The phone system went down for a period of about 7 days here because someone cut the line here in Essendon. So all of a sudden, dialing into a network, getting things that you need, if you can't get that information, then that just creates huge frustration. And I think this year's been a year to where many companies have band-aided things to get them through, and they're working on now, well, how do I become more effective, how do I become more efficient, and Office 365 I see is a good way of doing that. So as we are now out of lockdown, especially here in Victoria, so the other states didn't cop it as bad, nor did the regional areas, but Melbourne in particular, we're starting to come out of it now. It's a good time to revisit what's needed to be more effective in 2021, and we now live in a new world of staff expectations. So that's working from home, access to information, and latest technology. So I think it's definitely worth having the conversation about how to improve the effectiveness of your business. So streamlining your process systems will increase staff engagement. So I always think about, if you can increase staff productivity, will it make you more money? And the answer to that is yes. So if we can become more efficient and effective the way we do things, then there's going to be better output. And I think setting up better process creates better outcomes, such as staff happiness. And again, this is what it's all about. So how do I make them more happier in the way that they're working? Better team cohesion. I think Teams has definitely shown us that in this period of COVID, where people can communicate internally through our business. I think that's been absolutely fantastic. And that customer output and satisfaction. So how can I get real-time information and make it really, really effective? You get faster turnarounds, there's less mistakes, and that real-time information, as I talked about before, is what it's all about. And I really find we can have quicker conversations. So, I'm sure everyone in this webinar that's gone home of an evening and thought, geez, there's a lot crammed in the day. This is all because of technology. We've actually got a question, so I just want to make sure that, see if we've got a question. Question I got is, how hard is it to get someone to come out and map out our business? Cam, maybe that's something that you can answer that question. But what is it?
I'd love to take that question on, actually, Cole. Not hard at all. Not hard at all. I mean, it is actually one of the parts that we really do enjoy doing, and my guys, I know, particularly get a kick out of that architecture and help set up. And a couple of reasons from an IT professional and guys' point of view. Getting it right from the start it just fixes so many problems down the track, or prevents, I should say, so many problems down the track if you're getting it right from the start. And yeah, getting us out there is just a case of getting in touch and booking us, and we'll touch on how we do that later.
Yep. I think, look, better stuff outputs increases the team and customer satisfaction, because at the end of the day, it's our customers that keep us in business. But, we want staff to be empowered to perform better. That's every business owner wants that. We want them happy. We give them the tools. Give them the tools. Better tools going to make them more effective. They're going to be empowered. You're going to have perform better. And I think, you know, what's really, really interesting is, you know, even for some of the older generation out there that are, you know, this is a big learning curve going into this. Once they see the benefit of it and see how it works, it's just been absolutely fantastic how people have embraced it. Having quick access to information will provide, as I said, better outputs. I said that before. And then finding that right information to increase your performance, I think, is really, really important. I think customers expect information and answers immediately. We're in a society now when someone rings our business, they want that now. They don't really want to wait. So it's like, you know, well, how do I find that source of that information, and then get back to them? So we're just becoming more of a fast-paced operation now of how we do business. And I think using the best tools can make a world of difference. So we know technology is the future and it's forever changing. So it's really important that you know, you select and choose the right technology that's going to help. I have another question, so I want to just answer this question if I could. No, it was thanks Cam was the was the question. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the webinar that Cam and I put on today. This is my 28th webinar, so if anyone wants to see or know any information about other webinars, you can click on this link on the screen, and you'll have full access to all the webinars we've done this year. And this is the third one I've done with Cam, so I can't thank you enough, Cam. I'm not going to ask if any questions, because questions have come through. I've answered that. But how do we get in contact? So you can get in contact with me. You can jump on our website, give us a call, email, or you can book a free 15-minute chat. I've got that set up. And for Cam, you know, you're offering a free network security consultation. So do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, no, exactly, Cole, because I mean, the security is at the heart of it. We'd love to have a consultation about that with anyone, but even more so to go back to the previous question as well. I mean, booking in to help build and architect the business from there. And I really do look at it as like, you know, if you're building a new office or whatever, you start with the plans of the office and what it's going to look like and where the walls are going to go and how everything's going to work. Your IT infrastructure and this whole show now really needs to be looked at it like that, get it right from the ground up. The good thing about this though is that it's dynamic and you can change as you go and scale up, scale down. You can add new licenses this month, reduce licenses that month, depending on the amount of staff or what you want to do or the services you require. So it's very, very dynamic in terms of the operational expenditure that you can devote to this. But yeah, can't emphasize enough, plan out and get it right from the start.
Yep, beautiful. Okay, good. And then just to finish off, you know, our next webinar in the new year is how to make an impact in your business in 2021. So some of the things that I'm going to be talking about on Monday, the 18th of January, same time, 1 to 2 p.m. Generating good revenue must be your #1 priority. I think there's a lot of businesses that have gone through the biggest roller coaster ride of survive and thrive of 2020. So now it's about, you know, getting that consistency. I think it's really, really important, and look at understanding ways to close more sales. So I'm going to do a bit of sales training on this webinar as well, on what I believe in to try and create that pipeline and that revenue stream. And I think the importance of staff training. So again, this has been really, really interesting. So many training businesses have had to try and pivot their business online, and that's effective. But you know, what sort of training do your staff need for 2021? For those who haven't done any type of training, I think it's really important to relook at that. And the importance of building a cohesive team. So again, you know, I see the webinar that I've done today with Cam is about becoming more cohesive. So we're all using you know, Office 365 systems. It's going to make us a better cohesive team. I think it's really important. And that last one is who's holding you accountable. So you know, if you think about this webinar today, and I talked about how we've engaged AMA ICT in trying to help us. One of the things that I really want to get out of it, like I do with all of our partners that help us, is, you know, I want them to hold us accountable. So once we've mapped out the Office 365 solution of how we're going to run it with Teams and ShareDrive and OneDrive, SharePoint OneDrive, then they hold us accountable to use it effectively. Otherwise, what's the point? So no different to an accountant holding you accountable to achieve your targets and your financials. No different to us. We're an outsourced company holding our clients accountable to make sure they've got implementing HR best practice. From an IT perspective, I think it's really, really important. And I'm going to touch on that in January 2021. So thank you very much. If you want to get in contact with myself or AMA ICT or Key Business Advisors, there's our details. And thank you for attending this webinar. We really hope, the whole idea of today's webinar was to educate you more about what is possible to become more effective and efficient, especially with Microsoft Office 365. So stay safe, everyone. Have a wonderful Christmas and a safe new year, and we'll see you in 2021.